can get started. Hello, welcome to the December meeting of the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues. I'm Sally Hart Peterson, the current chair of the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues. We will start with introductions starting on my far left, and I will introduce Elizabeth Nelson, who is our council rep from Ward 4, who is our our council liaisons. So Elizabeth, you can introduce yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate the welcome, and I specifically requested this commission, and I'm really excited to work with you. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm Larry Keeler, Commissioner.
Hi, I'm Debbie Polster, I'm Commissioner.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Mozak-Batts, Commissioner.
Rachel Hawkins, Commissioner.
I'm Zach Damon, Acting Vice Chairman and Commissioner.
Tim Hall, Commissioner.
Allison Stroud, Commissioner.
Corey Ferris.
And I'm Heather Cook from the HR department, and Corey is also from the HR department.
Oh, great.
Thanks. First on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Kathleen moves. Larry seconds. Any questions, comments, additions, deletions? Yes, Allison?
I need to comment that I'm not seeing closed captions on the TV and the monitor.
Oh,
I'm not seeing closed captioning either.
Yeah, can we get the closed captioning?
If that is available, but I'm not sure how much
Okay.
more we can wait. So if we need to continue the meeting, I'm okay with it as long as we take one person speaking at a time. Clearly, please.
That sounds
Thank you.
good. One person speaking at a time, which is how we should be operating anyway.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and Heather's going to check and see what's going on with closed captioning.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up, Allison. Getting back to the agenda, any questions, comments? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those not in favor? It's approved.
Well, I just had one question, if I may.
Oh, yeah.
Are they doing, is Tom going to be doing an update on inclusive moving forward?
Hello.
No. I only when he becomes a commissioner, if he becomes a commissioner. But that's a good question, and perhaps going forward, that's something, yeah, we can, let's cover that when we cover community engagement.
No problem.
Okay.
Pardon me.
That's totally fine. Good question. Next, we have approval of the November 14th meeting minutes. Has everyone had a chance to take a look at them? And is there a motion to approve the November 14th meeting?
I'll move to approve it.
Larry moves to approve.
I'll second.
Allison seconds. Any questions or comments?
They are working on the closed captioning right now.
Okay. Thank
There's
you.
a disconnect somewhere.
There
in
was a
the
disconnect.
Wires, I don't know. They're all working on it.
Any questions or comments on the minutes? Is all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed? Hearing no one, the minutes are approved. We move along to presentations. First, we have Katie Monkowitz from the Washtenaw Library for the Blind and Physically Disabled. Welcome, Katie. She's also wearing purple.
Thank you.
That's right. That's right. I missed
We're all
you
looking
both
good
Saturday.
today. I'm going to pass out our December events brochure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, so we're going to talk about some of our upcoming programs. Because of the holiday, there's not a whole lot left in December. We're really getting close, and the library will be closed on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and New Year's Day. So keep that in mind as you get your materials for the break. The first thing that I want to talk about is Our creative breaks. I think I've talked about these before, but I think it's worth a reminder. Every Friday from noon to 1 at the downtown library in our secret lab, we have creative break sessions. And these are art sessions just meant to relax you, and they're guided. So you'll get a little bit of an idea of something to create, and then you'll have something to leave with that will be uniquely your own. So this time we're going to be working on snowy trees on Friday, December 21st at noon. And then also on Friday, December 21st at 7 o'clock at the downtown library in our multipurpose room, we're going to be talking about Kwanzaa, which is a celebration of unity and pride. So Kwanzaa occurs every year from December 26th to January 1st, and we are going to be having Elizabeth James from the U of M Afro-American and African Studies Department. She's presenting an interactive discussion on the history and current celebration of the holiday. That should be very interesting and timely. And then, after many of us celebrate our holidays, we will be having a thank you card party on Sunday, December 30th, 1 to 3 p.m. downtown library in our secret lab. And this is open for all ages. So, well, I guess basically kindergarten age all the way up through adult. We're just encouraging folks to write thank you cards and not think of them as being a drag. We're going to write, draw, and decorate cards to send to family and friends. So that should be something that's fun for the whole family. So I brought a couple of materials with me to tell you about. This first one is a very interesting little book. It's called Convenience Store Women, and there's a lot of talk around this book right now. Really popular and very quirky. So it's really very different from anything else that I've read. It's a very small book. It's maybe about 2/3 of the size of what I would imagine a normal hardcover book is, and it's only like 163 pages long. So, and for the audiobook, it's only 3 hours and 23 minutes long. So this little book is about 36-year-old Kaiko Furukura. She works at the Smile Mart convenience store. She's worked there for half of her life. She enjoys the predictable work governed by strict adherence to the employee manual. When a cynical young man joins the staff, he upsets the status quo. And this was originally published in Japanese in 2016. It's just a weird little piece on social commentary. And
Who's the author?
The author is Sayaka Murata. So, yeah, this one's going around the library like crazy right now. So I thought I'd mention that one. And then this one, for a little bit of local fare, we have the Kellogg's, The Battling Brothers of Battle Creek by Howard Marquel.
All right.
So this is a much thicker, longer read. The audiobook is 16 hours long, so you can see the major difference in length between those two books. But this one, the Kellogg's, is a profile of brothers John Harvey Kellogg and Will Keith Kellogg. It examines their careers and their contentious relationship, discusses their early lives in Michigan, their Seventh-day Adventist faith, and the impact of advancements in healthcare in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Oh, I forgot my little card, but encourage you to call us with any questions at the Washtenaw Library for the Blind and Physically Disabled. Our phone number is 734-327-4224. You can email us at wlbpd@aadl.org or visit our website at wlbpd.aadl.org. Does anyone have any questions today? All good? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Next, we have Katie Monkowitz from
No,
Sophie Scotialhack from the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living.
I didn't know that My new name is Katie.
Yeah,
but-
sorry, I've called you Beth, I've
Hi,
called you
guys.
Katie.
My name changes every other month.
Hi,
Sorry,
Sophie.
Sophie.
Hi, guys. So first I wanted to apologize for missing last month. Sorry about that. I got a little busy in November. And next I want to talk about the youth events that are happening at the Center for Independent Living, which is open to ages 14 through 26. The first would be the Ann Arbor Youth Council is holding a Be Our Guest movie night on January 3rd from 4:30 to 8 p.m. They'll be watching Beauty and the Beast and dressing up as your favorite character, playing trivia games and indulging in French cuisine. The next will be the Youth Diversity and Inclusion Retreat. That will be Friday, January 4th, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturday, January 5th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. This is a way to build relationships with community leaders and partners as you engage in group discussion and activities exploring the relationships between disability, gender identity, and sexuality, and work together to create an inclusive and accepting community for all. Next is that the youth leaders are always looking for ongoing volunteer opportunities. You can join the CIL Fantastic Youth Council to make a difference in your community. And for all of these events, you can RSVP with Anna Deuce-Bieber at anna@aacil.org or call 734-971-0277, extension 17. For our regular events, we still have free open gym hours, and that's always Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. You just need to schedule an orientation. You can either email info@aacil.org or call 734-971-0277, extension 33. We have our Hearing Loss Association support group that meets monthly on the second Monday from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And to RSVP, contact Pam McGinty at pamc86@gmail.com. Next is the Multiple Sclerosis Support Group, which meets every Monday from 7 to 8:30 p.m. To attend, just call Jody Burton at 734-663-0785. Next would be our general support group that meets every Wednesday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. And if you'd like to join, you can email Jason Jones at jjones5perad, P-E-R-A-D, at icloud.com. Diversibility Theater is still meeting every Wednesday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And to join, you can contact Chris Beatty at beattymohn@yahoo.com. Lastly, there will not be art classes from December 18th to January 6th. And the CIL will be closed from December 24th through January 1st for the holidays. And if you would like more information, you can always email us at info@aacil.org or call us at 734-971-0277 or visit our website at annarborcil.org. Any questions?
Sophie, I have a question, if I may. So are you watching the animated version of Beauty and the Beast, or is it going to be the live-action version?
Oh, that is a good question.
Good question.
I actually don't know. It doesn't say in the description.
Well, they're both very good.
They are both very good. Some of my favorites. Anything else? All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Next, we have public comments where we invite people from the room to come up and address us, but seeing no one, I think we will not do public comments. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we have any high school students either. The students from Skyline and Huron, the government students have a requirement that they need to attend a meeting, and very often they choose this meeting. And it's really fun to have them come, but they're probably at the end of their semester and their requirements have been fulfilled, but we can look forward to them returning next semester. Old business, city personnel report. Heather.
I don't really have anything except for Corey Ferris and I will both be coming to the next couple meetings, and then eventually Corey will be taking over as the staff liaison. Just like things cycle around in here, it's also cycling around in our department. So Don't think it's because I don't want to work with you guys anymore. I really
Heather,
enjoy
you've been
this
a gem,
commission,
though.
So,
Hard shoes to
but
fill.
Corey is great, and he's going to do a great job. So.
Thank you.
Allison,
I'm
do
looking
you have a
forward to
question?
working with you folks.
Thanks.
Thank you, Corey, and thank you, Heather, for all that you've done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have a question and a comment. I know that you asked us for meeting dates for the coming year.
Mhm.
And because my schedule with work is kind of in a flux right now, I'm not able to send you the date at the moment.
Okay.
But is there a due date at all for these meeting dates that we should send to you or keep in mind?
Typically they say that if you're going to schedule like a full year's worth of meetings, they need to be done by January.
Okay.
But I don't know what your schedule, what you're thinking the schedule for the subcommittee might be.
I'll find out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
That'll be fine. I also did, bring I guess we'll call it tentative schedule, for next year's regular commission meetings. That was just following is it the third Wednesday of
I think
it's the third Wednesday.
Yeah, it's the
of
third Wednesday.
every month. So I don't know if you want to discuss that now if there's any conflicts, or if you guys want to email me if there's any conflicts. With the dates, I did check and none of them fall on a holiday or anything.
The one that I always pay attention to is sometimes the third Wednesday in November falls before the fourth Thursday, like it did this past year. So I'm just looking to see when Thanksgiving is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 22nd. Sorry, I'm in the wrong month.
that's okay. And I just want to say thank you for all the time and your patience with me
Yeah.
as I worked with you to schedule the meeting
Oh, yeah.
and cancellation.
It does not.
And
It's
I
not
will miss
Thanksgiving
working with you, and I look forward to working with you, Corey.
Look forward to working with you too.
Okay. Anything else for Heather?
No, that's it.
Okay. Next we have Chair Report. That is me. I am still working on the Urine Report for 2018, and also, as I had mentioned in the last meeting, it'll actually be a biannual report of 17 and 18. The last one that was filed was with 2016, so you all will be getting a draft of it eventually, hopefully soon. And I would appreciate your comments, especially from the different committees, and giving me your input on that. But that's all I have. Next, we have Community Engagement Committee, Rachel.
So we had our first meeting, I believe it was November 27th. So unfortunately, we didn't have any, I had a very nice government student, but I did not have anyone else. So I just wanted to bring a discussion about the bird scooters. I know that that was something that that a number of the commissioners were very passionate about in terms of it being an accessibility issue or a tripping hazard. So I just wanted to bring that to the group to see if that's something that we want to work on, as having a commission level response to it.
Larry.
I'm looking into, and they're just starting a subcommittee through the Department of Transportation, or the Transportation Board, which Tim sits on.
Mm-hmm.
And they're getting a micro mobility committee set up. And my question is, do I want to go, I'm thinking about getting involved in that anyway, because we're talking about scooters and some of the golf carts and some of the other mobility traveling devices that are coming out that are not conventional car, and things that could end up on the sidewalk and whatnot. We're trying to we're just getting the committee open and trying to get a ordinance passed. And my question is, should I officially represent the commission on that, or should I just go and represent me on that?
And that's a subdivision of which?
That's a subcommittee of
Commission.
the Transportation Committee that Tim sits on.
It's a subcommittee.
So, Tim, what are your thoughts on that?
I think that's fine. I mean, I didn't want to go because it's in the middle of the day, and I just,
Yeah, it's 11 o'clock in the morning on Monday usually.
Yeah, and but actually they have on the agenda appointing them to that committee, so I guess the question.
So the commission's already appointing Larry to it?
Well, they're doing it tonight, I guess. They're considering it.
Sounds
They
like a
haven't voted
win-win.
on it yet, but I think they're considering. Oh, what?
No, go ahead, Allison.
Okay, I would say that I think it's a good idea to get involved with the conversation about the scooter situation. And I think before we decide to do something about it, we should be sure that we're all in agreement with having the commission act on it together as a group, or if there's just something that we need to act on as individual. I think it's a good idea to act on it as a commission together. But I want to make sure that we're all in agreement with that first.
Well, and I second your opinion, Allison. I think, once we have an opportunity to be able to have sort of a unified decision as a commission, I think as a voice, it would be, effective to have us approach this as a commission.
So do we want to spend, as a matter of protocol here, a few minutes now forming sort of a position on the bird scooters as a commission? So Larry has that before he's appointed, or do we want to take that offline and put this under community engagement, I think? If it's going to be a commission position, it should be under one of our committees, knowing well that Tim is appointed to a different commission on our behalf, but if we're formulating opinion from the commission, it should come from the commission. So is this something, I mean, do you want to spend maybe 5 minutes or talking about it? I don't know how long it'll take us to reach consensus on this. I'm thinking it might not take too long to reach consensus if there's, what are people's thoughts? Larry, do you want, how about we start with Larry since you brought this up?
I would represent us on that committee and bring, and work as a liaison between that particular committee, and not taking Timothy's thunder, but that particular committee, and anything that we form.
So what are some of the issues that you would want us, on behalf of the commission, what would you, on behalf of the commission, want to articulate are the issues related to the bird scooters? I'm guessing one of them will be that they're sort of left randomly on the sidewalk and they create a fall hazard.
Right, like is there storage for them for when they're left, or do they just leave them wherever?
They just leave them wherever.
And incidentally, the committee is working on passing an ordinance, regulating those as soon as they get completely formed.
So the components of that ordinance would probably want to include the position of our commission on that. So
Yeah.
there's the fall hazard, storage, other issues that people have.
Issues of where they can go and where they can't go, for instance, going down the sidewalk.
Yep.
Yeah, versus being like in the street, for example. You hope that people would be safe and be driving them in sidewalks or bike lanes, but people have been known in other parts of the country to drive them all the way to airports to get flights, so.
Oh, wow.
Then Rachel, I would probably end up being part of your committee temporarily then, since you would probably work on it.
Yes,
That
that sounds great.
So let's move that forward to a committee, community engagement committee agenda item.
Okay, wonderful. And we're already
Okay.
scheduled for a meeting in January, so I'll
Okay,
do a
perfect.
little work offline and then we can go from there.
And I also wanted to add a comment. I think another thing to consider is the amount of space around the scooters, because it also matters where how you positioning the scooter on the sidewalk, but it also matters how much space there is around the scooters. And when someone is riding them, they need to consider the safety standards that they must follow. Like how fast can they really be going? How much space should they have between themselves and the other pedestrians or other people using the scooter, if you will? So I think those are other things that we have to keep in mind when you're looking at the ordinance to pass some regulations. And Larry has his hand up.
Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, that's, a lot of those issues are already being brought up to the committee currently.
Yeah, I mean, I think,
Go ahead.
sorry about that, Sally, just one more point. I think both of you, Allison and Larry, bring up great points, and, you know, with it being a vehicle of some sort or mode of transportation, if you will, you know, my opinion is that it is to be treated, you know, as, just as a motor scooter is, and, you know, follow all traffic and transportation regulations within the city.
Kathleen?
My thoughts as a pedestrian on the sidewalks, frequently being passed by scooters, it would be nice if there would be some sort of protocol set in terms of kind of what you brought up, where if you're in the street, a car has to signal right, it has to signal left. There should be some sort of protocol that when a person is using a scooter, they need to signal their intention or state their intention. Me as a wheelchair user, if I'm coming up behind a slow walker, I'll say, I'm behind you passing on your left so I don't frighten them. I can't tell you how many times I've had an encounter where I've been passing a pedestrian and then I've had a bird fly by me and I've almost hit them. So it would be nice if there was some sort of protocol in place, just guidelines of how to be safe on the sidewalk for themselves as well as other pedestrians and vehicles.
The city does, in our parks, have guidelines for when cyclists pass walkers, and when to be in single file and when to move over and slower traffic on the right. And part of that is you're supposed to announce that you're passing on the left if you're on a bicycle. So it seems like those could be easily adopted for the sidewalk as well. I mean, there's already signage and precedents.
I agree, Sally. And I also think that it's not just the city that should be held responsible for posting the guideline. I think the company that
Yeah, birds
the scooter
should post them on the scooters themselves.
Yeah. I think they should be responsible for posting that information in there. If that information is not available, then there could be potential legal ramifications.
That could be a requirement in the ordinance, Larry, that they post the sidewalk safety or use on sidewalk laws on each and every scooter.
Well, yeah, or on their app, you know, or something, but yeah.
Right now, the only way they deal with it is A2 fix it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there needs to be, and we're talking about also fines for people who do it, who leave them in there, especially habitually.
Also, as far as leaving them on the sidewalk, I've heard discussed, I recall they were talking about possibly like you could leave them in the extensions of the sidewalk, but not blocking the
Right.
the main pedestrian path. So like where there's like trees and other
Yeah.
things, like,
Between
just-
the curb and the
Yeah.
trees, yeah.
And I think this kind of goes back to the guidelines as well, where it's, what are the expectations? Because, you know, some people will leave them sitting up, you know, upright with their stand, and other times, you know, they're scattered everywhere.
They're just on the ground.
They're in the ground. I had a friend who saw one in a tree. So they move everywhere, and, you know, I think the hope is that there could be some kind of unified response so we can improve this for our
Has anyone
community.
around the table used one?
No,
No?
no.
They're, at least from what I know, they were primarily on the West Coast, and, you know, they're relatively new here to Ann Arbor.
Any other questions or comments on bird scooters? We're gonna leave it in Rachel and Larry's good hands to tackle with the Community Engagement Committee.
Sounds great, thank you.
I wanted to get back to Zach, your question about regular updates on Ann Arbor Inclusive. The intention was that Tom would join the commission as a commissioner. I don't know that he's applied yet I don't know, I think we have a full commission now, Heather, don't we?
I thought we were one short.
But I think we've had applications already.
Hold on, I'll tell you.
What?
I'll tell you what's my report.
Okay, we'll wait for your report then.
Well, how about, I mean, okay, so then as I would say, if If he is eventually a commissioner, great.
Yep.
But then if not, I can definitely inquire
Yep.
as to getting a report from him to keep us all abreast of
Yep.
kind of what episodes are being taped and, what is to air and things like that, for the month. Because I think, it's a show that is represented.
Launched by this commission.
Yeah, launched by this commission. So I think it's important that, that stays on the forefront of our mind in terms of what's being represented there and the good job that Tom is doing.
Yep. Sounds good to me.
Larry?
Well, my other thing is if he doesn't choose to be a commissioner, maybe he could come in and give a monthly report like
That's
Katie and Sophie do.
Sophie. That's another good idea.
That's a great idea,
Yeah,
Larry.
that's a great idea, Larry. I think that could definitely, I don't want to speak for him, but I think, at least in my opinion, that could be another option for him. Will he be getting in touch with you, Sally, in terms of?
I can follow up with him.
Okay.
And, at the close of this meeting.
Would it be him
we'll
or
figure
me
out-
if we see the application, it'll be him or it will be Sally and I usually.
I'm sorry?
I said if he does put in an application, it'll be Sally, it'll go through the mayor's office, and Sally or I will see it. She emails both of us.
Yes,
Christine
she does. And I've seen a couple of applications come through, but I haven't seen his, so,
I didn't see any recent ones, I haven't seen him.
okay. Anything else for Community Engagement Committee?
No, I think that covers that. We have a lot to work with.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next, we have Partners in Access. Allison, so good to see you.
So we finally had our meeting after a few months of absence, and we had a couple of visitors from the city. Serena and I met with Elizabeth Nelson for the first time and Rachel McHawkins. Is it McHawkins, right? I'm sorry.
Hawkins.
Okay, Hawkins, okay. Your email address confuses me. And we also had a citizen come to address her concerns about the accessibility of some of the public establishments in the Ann Arbor area. And so the highlights of our conversation revolved around that. We spoke about Literati, Fridas Batitos, and Bell Tower, and the accessibility issues that someone with a powered wheelchair had accessing these buildings. So there currently is no safe and usable ramp for all of these buildings, and there's not enough space for this person to get through the doorway comfortably and safely. And some of the things that we talked about with regard to these issues are some steps that we could take to help resolve these issues. So some of the approaches that we discussed were communicating with the managers and owners of these public establishments to include requests for accommodation in their announcement for any time that they plan to have a public event or any event where they're having people over. As well, we also mentioned discussing these issues with the DDA, the Downtown Development Authority, or the city administrator to see if there are any other details that we need to consider, or if there's some support that we could get from them when we're trying to communicate with the city. When we're trying to communicate with the managers or the owners of these establishments. And another idea was to write a recommendation or a resolution to the city council and try to just encourage or strongly recommend that the buildings make themselves accessible for everybody and try to abide by the ADA guidelines. So I followed up with these details in an email with Sally and included people who attended the meeting as well as other PIA committee members to see if she had any input. And I also welcome everyone on the commission to offer some feedback or ideas of things that can be done to approach these accessibility issues, because we can talk to people about it, and there are things that can be done, but these are buildings that have been around for so many years, and it may be more difficult for establishments to make some accommodation, whereas in another situation to where Kathleen brought up the issue of curb cut, I think those are more easily resolved by just adding more curb cut for people who need them. I'm not sure how much more difficult it might be to address these issues with the buildings themselves. So, any thoughts from anyone? Yeah, Kathleen?
I know one of the concerns or that I come across when I've talked to businesses about having accessibility issues is I hear, well, we rent this space, it's owned by somebody else, and there's that, I think I want to use the word grandfathering. So as long as the property is maintained by a continuous owner and it's not like sold, I don't know that there's a lot that can be done. I do know that there are businesses that are willing to make accommodations. There's a wonderful business, the shoe repair business, that has a one-step in, but I use them frequently. I call them and I say, I'm outside your door, would you come get my stuff? And then we do transactions that way. That's not always ideal, but I'm grateful that accommodation is available. But like I know with Literati, I have a power chair. I can get into the first floor, but they don't have an elevator, so you can't get to the second floor, you can't get to the basement. Same with Vault of Midnight, you can't get to the basement. But I don't know, Sally, you probably have a lot more information than I do. I just know that I constantly hear, oh, it's owned by the same owner, we're just leasing.
It's, if there were to be any kind of redevelopment of the site that would trigger a site plan approval kind of a process, then it would require ADA accommodation. So they are, my understanding is that they are grandfathered until they decide to make structural changes to the building. And one of those would be putting in an elevator, which is hugely expensive. And so the people, it's really, it's the owner's responsibility to provide accessibility is my assumption here.
Yeah, I mean, especially with a property, you know, such as the bell tower that, you know, has been in its location for so long. You know, it's really been, you know, an uphill battle in terms of, you know, having those types of grandfathered properties, again, make those accommodations because, as Sally, as you pointed out, that's the owner's responsibility. And of course, even if they've met the minimal requirements at times, that's usually as far as they've gone. So as far as the method of which we are to take to address that and move forward, you know, I would have to look more into that with all of you to figure out what the best, most diplomatic way to do that would be.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I was thinking about, trying to maintain a good relationship with the owners of the public establishment and also encouraging them to continue to be good stewards for the community. Because I know they are. Most, if not everybody, really want to be good stewards with the community. They will want to do as much as they can to welcome everybody.
And I'll just remind people, Kathleen brought to the forefront earlier this year the issues of lack of curb cuts at the mall, and that was exactly the response from Simon Properties, is this is not in our budget this year, but we're gonna do it, and we're gonna do it now because we know this is the right thing to do. So I think it's good to maybe use them as an example as a local business or a local property that did it because it's the right thing to do despite the cost not being in their budget. And I think we should use that as an example going forward.
So it sounds like maybe the first step is to communicate with the managers and or the owners of the buildings.
I would communicate with the managers first, who have the first line of communication probably with the owners, and then ask for an introduction to the owners and talk about what reasonable accommodation can be made, because by law they have to provide reasonable accommodation.
Right. Okay.
Which is what, is it the park shoe? Is that the one that you were talking?
Yeah, Park Shoe Repair has been wonderful.
They are good.
The big gallery used to do that too, and for my wife, when she was in a chair, I had to call them and have them run everything out for her to look at because it was a historic building, they said, and they couldn't remodel it.
Maybe that's, I just kind of had an idea, and this goes back to community engagement, but maybe there's an opportunity in this to be proactive and highlight those companies, those local businesses that are proactive when it comes to reasonable accommodation. Maybe we can put that on the disability resource page.
Well, and
as
would those entities be able to sort of, you know, back us and support?
Yeah, serve as examples for others and
Yeah,
support,
yeah.
yeah. Just a thought going forward. Allison, you mentioned the DDA. By coincidence, I'm having coffee with one of the DDA board members tomorrow morning. So I will share your email and what we're thinking about, and just sort of give her a heads up that this is something that the committee might be coming to the DDA about,
Yeah,
if that would be helpful.
I think that would be helpful. And if you could forward my email to them, that would
I
be
will.
fine. But you can also share
Yeah.
with them the other citizen's email, where she
Yes.
provided more specific details of what
Yeah.
actually
And
happened.
they may have some more information about some of these
Yeah.
property owners as well.
And you could provide us update
Yes.
as well. Thank you. And if I have any questions, everybody, I will follow up with you guys. Thank you very much for your input. And I also want to say that we did talk about some upcoming activities, and we still have to touch base with nobody because we still have not heard from either Frost or Chinfar. But as far as I know, from what Sally and I have gathered, they are still waiting on the city administrator to
Yeah,
come back
I
to them.
saw Lisa Brush 2 weeks ago at a different event. And I gathered from her that they are waiting for more information from our city administrator about funding and protocols for moving forward. And just to remind everyone, this is a pilot program that Snowbuddy would like to do with the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues, where we work with a specific neighborhood group, identify elderly or people with disabilities who do not have the capability of clearing their sidewalks during storms. And instead, Snowbuddies would come and do that for them. And there would be some funding that would come from the city, minimal, just to get it started. But they're also interested in expanding beyond the Water Hill neighborhood where they serve right now. But there are, for example, in Ward 2, there are a lot of neighborhood groups. There are also a lot of elderly people who would like to age in place. And this would be a huge service for them. We're just having a little trouble getting it actually off the ground, because I thought we were gonna do it last year. And for whatever reason, the decision was to do it this year. I don't think it's too late to do it this year, especially how mild it is this week. So I also have a meeting with the city administrator on Friday, so I'll add this to the agenda, and I'll get back to you. I'll report back.
Yeah, that would be great. And I wanted to add that one idea that came from the discussion about nobody was when the students brought up an idea where students can, at University of Michigan, can create a volunteer group to help fulfill that purpose.
That'd be great.
So if that is an idea that we would be interested in suggesting, how should we go about that?
Yeah.
Should we just email someone at the university and say, hey, who should we contact?
Yeah.
To start.
So this student that came to the meeting from U of M, actually she wrote a compelling letter to Heather and to me about her experiences with a friend with disabilities who had somewhat of a traumatic experience trying to get into literati. And that has inspired her to come forward, and she wants to take a leadership role in this commission or in Ann Arbor now. That said, she's a junior at U of M, and she's actually going to be away next semester. But when she comes back, she wants to take the lead on some of this stuff, and she would be a great liaison back to U of M. And she is also going to be on the U of M council for. Her name's Lindsay. I don't remember her last name. Lindsay, and she has attended U of M Council for Disability Concerns meetings. So.
Yes.
Easier.
I'm looking at my
Okay,
minutes.
good.
Yes.
So she is one that we want to grab onto if we can and get her working on this. So if she can sort of lead the charge on getting a group of students together at U of M who are willing to provide this service in the neighborhoods, that's a huge win. So
Okay, so
anything else?
Maybe I
questions?
could just suggest to Lindsay, saying that she could also start that idea on her own with
Right.
other students.
Right.
Now, if she wants to.
Exactly.
Good.
Anything else for Allison?
Nope, that's it for now. Thank you, everybody. And I will come up with a schedule that more regular for us to attend. So please keep your eyes peeled for that. Thank you.
Sounds good. Recruiting, Larry.
Yeah, it's me. So far, I haven't seen any new applications for this month, and I know they're not taking any till next month. I thought we had one position, but are we full, or do we have one position
No, I
left?
think we still have one, but I thought some applications came through. I'm just checking.
There were some that came up, but they didn't go completely through. They came back, I think I reported on them last month,
Okay.
but nothing's happened with them because apparently the new city council has been, they've been introducing new city council members and that kind of thing, and they're supposed to be, from what I understand, anything next month will come up, but so far nothing has.
So next month,
Next month meeting
those
January.
names might go forward?
Nothing went forward,
Okay.
not until next month. And
Okay.
I don't know what's going forward then. I just talked to the mayor's office before I come down here. Hadn't seen Tom's application either, so, if you want to apply, you can, give us drop us an email at, excuse me, my mouth is dry, Ann Arbor Disability, or a2disabilityissues@gmail.com, or call the mayor's office and request an application at 794-6161. I think you can also do it online. I can't remember where we do it online, where we exactly look for it though, so I have to find that out for next month.
I think you can go to
think you go to
a2.gov,
a2.gov
search
and then
on
you
boards
gotta
and
search for it.
commissions
You
and
gotta-
how to apply.
I don't remember where to find it. I think it's boards and commissions.
Zach's got this.
Yeah, well, Larry, I just wanted to say too, to all those watching into the Ann Arbor community, that what we do as a commission, it's not just to make the city more inclusive for those with disabilities, but for all residents and of the city of Ann Arbor. So when you are a commissioner and you join this commission, you're not just helping yourself, but you're helping the entire city of Ann Arbor become more inclusive and more accessible.
Quite true.
Amen.
Thank you.
Anything else for Larry?
I'm going to get that drink, man.
Okay, Transportation Commission, Tim.
Yeah, so last month, of course, we had a number of things, sorry, I'm just looking for something. But this month, they're gonna have a crosswalk study, I know, and, last month, we had the micromobility, and I know we just talked about what happened with the bird scooters, and, I guess, I don't think there was a ton other than that last month. Maybe that's why I'm kind of having trouble remembering at this point, but, micro mobility and, I think they just, there was this project down by Hoover. They had a few things like reporting on a couple different projects, and then they had, the bike share. Yeah, I think, I remember I sent an email out about that one. And, this month there's like crosswalk study, and there's a number of just reports, and like as far as this year's annual report and next year's plan, and, I think aside from our bird discussion, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Any questions, comments for Tim? Next, we have U of M Council for Disability Concerns, Kathleen.
Hi. So our last meeting was held December 12th, and on the agenda, we've been working on recreating our mission and our vision for the council. And so it was presented to the council, and the council members gave differences of opinion. There was a consensus of large approval, but it's going back to the subcommittee again for just tweaking, and then hopefully in January, we will have our final mission and vision for our future. We had a presentation by Shapiro Design. It was really fascinating. It was 3D maps. So they were printed on a 3D printer, and they were actually passed around to the different council members. And these maps are tactile, so that persons with vision impairment or who are blind could see different things like galaxies or different terrain. Or one of the things that was presented was a central campus map. They talked about texture possibilities. The council recommended different things like symbols for parking if they're going to use like a topical map for, say, the university, safe routes, curb cuts. Some suggestions were additional components like Braille so that they would know what was going on. So that was quite fascinating. They're going back to the lab because what they're using now, the concern is that the wear. So if somebody's using the tactile map, how long would that map actually last before it would have to be replaced? So they're looking at different materials and things like that.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. And so then Gifts of Art, Bedside Art, contacted the council because they wanted advice on how to present art to patients who are visually impaired. So that's an ongoing discussion right now, but very exciting for persons who are inpatient at both hospitals, the Children's Hospital and the adult hospitals. And then Will from the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living brought up that a micro grant was given to the Ann Arbor Transportation Authority. The Ann Arbor CIL is working in partnership along with the University of Michigan Transportation Research area, and it's called Phoenix. And it's about it's a mobility app that's in development for persons who are visually impaired or blind, hearing, to help them navigate transportation better. But also, it wasn't on this agenda, but I want to bring it up now because we're talking about it. Additionally, in this grant, also with all those same partners, it's called Q-Straint. It's a autonomous wheelchair securement system for the buses, and that study will be taking place beginning next year. They have to look into purchasing the equipment, but they're going to fit 10 buses and do a study with this autonomous restraint system with the hope that passengers who use mobility aids will feel more independent because they'll be able to secure their own wheelchair. They're also looking at possibly saving time because then the driver will not have to get out of their chair and secure and come back. So that's something that we're looking forward to hearing more about. That's everything.
Great.
See, that sounds familiar.
Any questions for Kathleen? Announcements? New business, we have new business. So, nominating committee. Nominations, I'll turn it over to you. I am term limited, and my
Right.
4 years are up, so.
And we're so thankful for your 4 years, Sally. Thank you so much. Well, I guess I need to open it up to the floor. We've had one nomination, Zach Damon, and he has accepted that nomination. But I think per protocol, I should open the floor up and find out if there are any other commissioners that would like to make a nomination at this time. Not seeing any nominations, I suppose the next order of business would then be to take, I believe we're allowed to take a voice vote on this. Is that correct, Sally?
That's correct.
So Zach Damon is nominated for chair. All in favor, say, oh.
You got it.
Oh, I have to ask for
Is there
a motion.
A motion.
May I please ask if there's a motion?
I'll move.
Okay, so moved by
And then a
Sally and
second.
seconded by Allison.
Any
Was that you?
discussion?
Yeah.
And any discussion? So not seeing any discussion and having been so moved, we can move to vote?
We can vote.
Okay, thank you for being
That's
so
all right.
patient with me. I appreciate it.
Good old Robert's Rules of Order.
Do I have to leave the room?
And so at this
Vote for
time,
yourself, Sue.
so at this time, we can take a voice vote. All those in favor for Zach Damon as chairperson of the Council for Disability Concerns, say aye.
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 All those opposed?
All those opposed? Seeing none, congratulations, Zach, you're our new
You're the new chair,
chairperson.
yay.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Now, as Zach was our vice chair, we asked for submissions for the vice chair nomination. Sally was nominated as vice chair and accepted that nomination. And I'd like to open up the floor. Are there any other nominations for vice chair at this time? Okay, seeing no nominations, I asked, would somebody like to make a motion to?
I'll move to vote
Okay,
for
so-
Sally as the vice chair. I'm not playing the sentence.
Motion by Allison and seconded by Zach. He's very excited over there. So then we can move on to a voice vote.
Is there
No,
any discussion?
I'm sorry. Is there any
Yeah,
discussion?
discussion.
No, I don't want any discussion. I just want it to be so, sorry for being so excited about this. So there is no discussion? All right, so let's, by voice vote, all those in favor of Sally Hart Peterson as vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none opposed, congratulations, Sally, you are the new
Thank
vice
you.
chair.
Keep me somehow.
Thanks. Good job, Kathleen.
Puppy, I'm a puppy.
Thanks. So this takes effective immediately, because I think it was supposed to be done by December 1st.
Oh.
But it said that we can do it at the next available meeting, which is today, so that's perfect, and we're all on time. Any other comments or anything before we adjourn? I just wanted to close and say thank you for your support for the last 4 years as your chair. I think we've done some great work in this community, and I expect we will continue to do great work under Zach's leadership, probably better work under Zach's leadership. But I just
No
wanted.
pressure.
No pressure. I just want to share something that I read in the last couple of weeks, and you may have heard of this quote before. And I don't know if I saw it on Facebook or Instagram or somewhere on social media. And it seems so obvious to me, but I just like the way it was stated, and that was, and just give you a feeling moving into the new year and into the holidays, is that the comment was, diversity is something that we have, but inclusion is what we do. And I thought that was very telling. And I thought that was just a good sort of motivating thought to go into the new year. Larry?
And I've also noticed, aside from that with every chair we've had, I've been on the commission since 2011, which isn't forever, but it's probably longer than anybody else has, at least currently.
And you haven't missed a meeting since then either.
Wow, no.
I have noticed that. You have never missed a meeting.
And no, I missed one, excused one.
Oh.
I had to go to a wrestling match and watch my kid beat up somebody. But, no, whenever, with every chair, I see that every person whose chair is put slightly different, the commission goes a slightly different direction. It always ends up being pretty good, so, let's do it, Zach, man.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, everyone, for your support. It means a lot. Thank you for being so accepting of me and to take this position. And, you know, Sally, it's been a pleasure to sit beside you as the vice chairman, and I'm excited.
We're just going to swap seats.
That's right. That's right. So I'm excited, and Larry, you know, I'm very excited for the future of this commission and to have it keep moving forward.
Any other comments? I think we can adjourn, 5:04 p.m. Thanks, everyone. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Thank you.